Welcome to the RadioU Podcast. Coming up, which fruit would be worth sacrificing your life for?
Also, is the Red Cross discriminating against blood types?
All that and more on the way next. Well, thanks to a groundbreaking new study, we now know us bread eaters, Allie, can safely kiss people who are gluten-free. Although, why would we want to?
Wow, you're really proud of yourself for that one.
8772 Radio U. As if sufferers from celiac disease don't have enough. Now we don't want to kiss them. That's not actually true. But
No.
The study is true. The study is true, and it's not something I even ever thought about.
I never had to worry about this. I don't have celiac disease, which is the disease that, those that cannot eat gluten or they will have an allergic reaction. That's what it's called, celiac disease. And so I guess this was not something that had been looked into or really studied that well. But a lot of people that do suffer from celiac disease wanted to know, am I safe to kiss my spouse, my partner that does not suffer from celiac disease, does eat gluten? Is it okay for me to kiss them? So I guess that question was asked enough that they were like, yeah, we need to do a study about it.
They had to test it out, and hey, kudos to those individuals that were willing to subject themselves to this.
Yeah.
That were willing to kiss for science. But what they found was that if a gluten-free person, a person that actually has celiac disease, there should be a distinction. And this is how you know if somebody actually needs to be gluten-free or not. Just ask, can you kiss them? And if they say, well, have you eaten bread lately?
Right.
Then they actually are celiac. And if they aren't, then well, I guess they're just doing it because it was trendy. But they had people that didn't have celiac disease eat like a bunch of crackers.
Yeah.
To
saltine crackers.
To get some gluten in their system. And then they had to kiss their celiac disease partner for anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute. And then they also had they did that same test, but also had, is it the person who isn't celiac, who like ate the crackers, had to drink a bunch of water too?
Yeah, the person that is not the celiac sufferer in part 2. So they did the study in 2 parts where they ate the saltine crackers and just waited 5 minutes and then kissed their partner for 10 seconds to 1 minute. And then part 2, they repeated those steps, but had the person that ate the saltine crackers, the non-celiac sufferer, just drink 4 ounces of water, not wait the 5 minutes, and then kiss. And they found that actually the results were better when the water happened. But for both parts, it really was not anywhere like in a place where you need to be worried.
There's not enough gluten in your saliva after eating gluten to harm a person with celiac disease, which is good to know.
Yes.
Good to know. Although, if you have to go through all these steps, it really does feel like it would be easier for the celiac people to just pair up with each other, Because then you can be more spontaneous.
Sure.
And kissing, to me, a spontaneous act.
I mean,
I don't want to have to like prepare just to kiss.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah, but
Fair
I mean,
enough.
it's over for me. I've already paired up, and I don't have to worry about this.
Yeah, you have a non-celiac sufferer
But
partner.
in relationships, I find that being able to just kiss whenever you want to, and not having to worry about what you ate or drank lately, is usually best for everybody.
I think they pretty much found that that's probably the case with this. They just wanted to see what the parameters were, and that's why they gave these steps.
Yeah.
But I think you're probably pretty safe to still be spontaneous.
It's you might have been worrying a little too much based off of this. It's not like somebody that eats bread is some kind of rogue from X-Men and gonna sap you of life.
Right.
If you happen to have celiac.
The deadly kiss.
So good to know. Radio U, where music is going, 8772 Radio U. Some may see this as a show of good faith. The new Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer being released right after they decide to go ahead and delay the release date to May of 2026.
Yeah.
I see it as a kick directly to the kneecap.
Oh no!
Don't you see like what? I mean, I guess it's better they didn't put it out before they announced the release date change.
Right.
But the new trailer, I mean, it looks pretty cool. It looks fun and whatever.
Yeah, it's like a slice of life trailer. It's showing you some of the, I guess backstory for the actual story of GTA 6, which we didn't really know too much about. So it was kind of nice to get a little bit of that. Still don't know a lot. But we didn't get a whole lot of what I would consider gameplay.
No, yeah, not a lot. It looks like a fun game trailer, but a bad movie trailer.
Yeah.
Like you would not want to watch a movie that was this.
Yeah, probably not. I also have to say, I don't know. I don't play video games a lot, but do video game developers think women only have one body type?
That's the one they figured out how to animate, and there was a reason they figured that one out first because it's the one they like, and then they're like, let's never figure out another one. Yeah. But there was a large differentiation between the men.
Yes.
There's like the Bradley Cooper type that's like the Jason Duvall, the main character in the game.
Yeah.
And then there's like the schlubby, overweight classic Florida man wearing a fisherman's cap and a wife beater, and he's pretty large. And they figured those out, but they only figured out one type of woman.
Like the police detective or like the whatever the guy is in the trailer. He's all like big burly guy. So they all have different body types, very diverse.
Yeah.
But then the women, it's all like, I'm like, why did all of them look the same?
Yeah.
Literally every single one. So I don't know.
When I was watching it, I did notice there seemed to be like certain things they were proud of that they think looked really good, or like they really figured out how to make it realistic.
Yeah.
And so they kept showing that, like how many times the woman, I don't know her name, but that kept jumping into Jason Duvall's arms, or, kissing him on the couch or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, we really figured out how to do this animation too. This one body type, and then to make it hop on a man, we've really figured out.
Figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
I think her name's Lucia. I think that's what I have written here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested in the storyline. I know I probably will never end up playing it, but I do feel like these slice of life trailers are fun, but also it's like, this isn't what the actual game looks like.
And I'm not a typical gamer, and I mean, at least I don't. I'm definitely not typical, but I'm not. I don't care about a game's story at all.
Well,
I
GTA
really do
6,
not.
I feel like, or GTA in general, I feel like no one cares about the story.
Yeah, and that's all this is like trying to get you invested, like make it look like a fun life to live and whatever.
Right.
And it's just like, man, I just want to play the game.
Yeah.
I want to do whatever it is. If you can't make the gameplay fun, I really do not care about the story at all.
Right.
So I don't know if this is the trailer it just looks like it's well done.
Yeah, it looks well made.
But I just can't also but feel like annoyed that it's like, we're delaying it, but look how good it looks. And it's like, I'm not going to get excited. I'm not going to get excited. This thing doesn't come out for another dang year.
Yeah.
And somebody commented on one of our videos about it on YouTube that was saying they think the reason that they're delaying it is so they can put it out on the Switch after all of the price increases have come and then charge even more for it, because they were already saying they were going to charge more than like the average game. And so I don't like that either.
This game's going to be like $120.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be astronomical, because the only thing I could think of was, yes, this looks beautiful, but you are going to need something real beefy to run this game.
Yeah.
And you still may run into hiccups.
Upgrade your console to whatever, like the newest version that they put out before. And it's going to be expensive.
It's so much money.
And no matter how much it costs, I know people like Nene are going to be shelling out the cash. They're saving. I don't think I'm that type of guy.
At least they have another year to save, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got plenty of warning. You got no excuse.
No excuses.
The quest to determine a new pope begins today in the Vatican City in Europe, in Italy. And some of the individuals charged with determining the next pope are taking some interesting tactics. 8772 RadioU. There was a movie that came out last year. It was nominated for a lot of Oscars. I saw it, enjoyed it a lot. It's called Conclave. It's about a bunch of cardinals, and the pope dies, and they have to determine. They do the conclave. They have to determine who the next pope is.
Yeah.
And that's a movie. Not based off of a real life story. But some of the cardinals that are going to be choosing the next pope have been watching Conclave to research and know how to navigate the conclave that begins today as they decide who the next pope will be.
Yeah, apparently many of the cardinals that are a part of this conclave were appointed by Pope Francis, and so they've never experienced it before.
Yeah.
They don't know what to expect, and it's a very secretive process.
It's secretive, and it only comes up every
once in a while.
Yeah, it's not only a couple times in a lifetime, really. Like
it's not like every 4 years they do this, like an election or something.
Yeah.
So it's not that often, and apparently the cardinals are saying, the clerics are saying that it actually depicts what the conclave looks like very accurately.
Really?
Yeah, and so
that's interesting.
They're not being discouraged from watching this movie to kind of get a little bit of a sneak peek of what they will experience, because they've pointed out that the film is super accurate and actually is helpful because similar to the film, in real life, a lot of these cardinals are first time.
Yeah.
And they've also been picked from dioceses that are very obscure.
Yeah.
So they're not as familiar with some of the stuff that goes on in, the Sistine Chapel in Italy, all of that stuff. And
because they've been in other countries kind of completely across the world.
Yeah, so it's a total new experience. So it's kind of funny how this Hollywood movie has become a research tool for the next pope.
It was, when I watched it, I mean, I had almost no familiarity with how a conclave works.
Yeah.
And it was convincing to me, but I didn't realize it was that realistic, I
had no idea either.
And now it makes me, they will never do this, of course, but now I want to see a documentary, behind the Hard Knocks of this conclave, real life. I want to know how does it play out,
Yeah, that's not happening.
No, but that'd be so awesome if that's a Hard Knocks I would actually care about.
Yes.
And actually be interested in. That'd be thrilling TV.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm I'm not Catholic, so I don't really have a horse in this race here. But I am very interested to see. I know I've already shared that the cardinal I would love to see become the next pope is Robert Serra. I'm all behind him
because he's African, right?
Yeah, because he's from Africa. I think that'd be so cool.
I didn't look into if there's any Canadians that are eligible to be the pope that I should be putting my weight behind, but whatever weight that is. But I don't know. I love this idea. I think we should start doing this with other things too.
Okay.
We should start watching other movies to prepare us for other real life instances. If it's good enough for the Catholic Church to watch movies to prepare for their conclave, then couldn't we watch, what are some movies we could watch? We could watch Independence Day to prepare for an alien invasion type thing, Well,
I don't know if you're always going to get the same accurate depiction that Conclave gives for what a conclave looks like. With every Hollywood movie. I literally heard a joke yesterday about how Disney did us all wrong with the movie Pocahontas by making us think that Pocahontas marries John Smith. She doesn't. She never married John Smith. So she married Thomas.
That wouldn't be as fun of a movie, would it?
No, but I mean, we all grew up being she marries John Smith, and then you read it in your social studies class, and it's no.
I guess we shouldn't get our history lessons from all movies, especially cartoons, necessarily, but we could still prepare with movies.
Okay.
It's research.
Sure.
It's research. You just take it with all the other info that you gather.
Just take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Okay, Allie, rate your panic level now that the Cleveland Cavaliers are down 2-0, losing both games at home and blowing in game 2 a 14-point fourth quarter lead and a 7-point lead in the last minute.
Yeah, this was devastating last night, I have to say. I was in the middle of something yesterday evening, so I was only able to see the fourth quarter of this game.
The worst quarter for you to watch.
Literally the worst quarter. I mean, Donovan Mitchell almost puts up a 50-burger, and we still can't win. This is crazy. Now, I will say, they did have injuries. Evan Mobley out. Darius Garland still out. And as we've seen through the past couple of years, as great as Donovan Mitchell is, he can't be your only guy because they're going to let Donovan Mitchell get a bucket. It's gonna happen. But you have to have some other guys around him also get buckets, especially in moments when you need it. And in those moments when they needed it, what were they doing? They were turning the ball over to Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
So it was devastating. I mean, he hit that dagger, and it was a dagger straight to my heart. I was very devastated, and it kept the streak alive, and the Warriors continued it last night of these away teams winning every single game in these semifinals far.
I can't make sense of that.
This is nuts.
The away teams in the second round of the NBA playoffs now are 5-0.
Undefeated.
Which doesn't make any sense. Because, like, in some of the rest advantages where you think, like, the Warriors and the Nuggets are both coming off long 7-game series, they had injury problems, and they both somehow still got wins. The Warriors last night. The Warriors won against the Timberwolves, and Steph Curry missed a lot of the game, and he's probably going to be out for the next game, too, it sounds like, if not longer than that.
Yeah.
But they still beat the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves scored 11 points in a quarter.
Yeah, that was very shocking because it was just, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I cannot make sense of it.
Anthony Edwards went like 0 for 20 or something at one point in the game. Like, just not a good night for him.
Maybe they I kind of am joking, but maybe seriously, even though this hasn't usually been how it is in the past, the teams that, like for the Timberwolves and Thunder, they sat too long.
Yeah.
And maybe the Celtics too, and the Cavs, they sat too long. They got rusty, you know?
What I said yesterday when we were talking about the away teams winning, and I mentioned how I was nervous about the Celtics and the Cavs, was I mentioned with the Celtics, they look a little apathetic. The Cavs, to me, last night looked apathetic. If you watch towards the end of that game when I think it was Naismith that gets the bucket after Siakam misses 2 free throws.
Yeah.
That, to me, was a total lapse of just everything for the Cavs. I'm like, what are you guys doing? Focus on the game.
Yeah, you can't box out on a free throw at the end of the game.
Apparently not. But again, Evan Mobley, Defensive Player of the Year, you really saw how they missed his presence on the court at the end of that game, in my opinion.
Yeah, but you know what? The good news for the Cavs is they're about to go on the road for the next 2 games.
And they're the road team now.
So that should help them out. Although I will be flabbergasted. My jaw will be on the floor. Tonight the Celtics are 10.5-point favorites at home against the Knicks. If the Celtics lose to the Knicks.
Again? Yeah.
Then just pick the road team for every game the rest of the playoffs.
Game.
But I think the Celtics are going to blow out the Knicks tonight.
I agree with that.
And then you get Thunder Nuggets too. Why does that sound tasty? I want some Thunder Nuggets. But I think the Thunder should get the win. I'm a little less confident. I told you that's the team I'm most worried about just because I think the Nuggets, they have some kind of chip on their shoulder.
If the Nuggets win this game, there's a chance they could sweep.
Yeah.
There's a chance.
There's a chance. Technically, there's a chance all of these series could still be sweeps.
Right. You're right.
Yeah. So, but I think things turn around tonight for the home teams.
Okay.
In a huge relief to many men across the planet, a new study has just been conducted. 2,000 women surveyed that found that having a bald head is the second most attractive feature a man can have.
What?
It's true. This numbers don't lie. They came in behind only a muscular physique. If you're a muscular man with a bald head, there's nothing more attractive to the ladies.
Maybe if you have both of those things and your name happens to be Jason Statham. Other than that, I don't know if I would agree with this.
I think this should, while these numbers, I think like you have to take them seriously because this survey asked about many different features a man could have. And this is like the bald head literally came in at number 2 of like the most common that women said, yes, this is attractive, but that was still only at 40%. Only 40% of women see that as a value add for you to have a bald head.
So not the majority of women.
But the majority of women didn't agree on anything.
Well, I would say that's actually not shocking at all. Like, yes. Have you ever, a woman's prerogative is to change her mind. I'm not even going to deny that. That's absolutely true. So I don't think there would be any agreement across the board from women because all women view men differently and you have different tastes and different things that they see as attractive.
Yeah, I think here's what we can learn. So the muscular physique was the most popular among women, the top physical trait a man could have.
Okay.
42% of women said that was the choice. Then 40 said they liked bald heads. So you should either be bald or muscular. If you have one of the two, you're appealing to you're guaranteed to appeal to a woman.
I don't know about that.
It sounds like to me. I don't think they all line up. I don't think they all agree. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, some of them also are just so generic that it's like, again, it's just what physical feature you find attractive.
Yeah.
That has, to me, physical features, yes, they can be important, but they have very little bearing, in my opinion, on how actually I view someone as attractive.
Yeah.
Because I view the person as attractive, like what's going on the inside, their heart, their feelings, their thoughts and opinions and all of that. That's important too, how they treat people. But some of these are just so generic, like a beard. Well, how do they groom that beard?
Yeah.
How does it look? Is it Brandon Marsh's beard? I'm sorry, I don't want Brandon Marsh's beard. It's very different. So it's very like, it's too broad.
I'm going to need you to use a more, I know who you're talking about, but an example that everyone would be familiar with, like a Jack Black beard.
Yeah, like a caveman beard.
But Jack Black's beard on Jack Black, though, kind of works.
No.
It's better than if he was clean shaven.
Well, sure, but I just mean like the caveman beard that's just like, it's not well groomed. It's just a little, it's almost like, like a pirate or something.
Yeah. What's shocking, though, like typically you would say, I would have thought that having high cheekbones would be considered conventionally attractive among women for a man, and that only got 26%. That came in way behind women. So, guys, women are not paying attention to your cheekbones.
No,
if you're proud of your cheekbones, forget about that. Don't try to advertise that in your dating profile.
Hot cheekbones.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's something I even take notice of at all.
But I also think the ones that really got no positive response, like next to none, that should also be considered for guys. Only 10% of women thought tattoos were attractive, and only 7% thought piercings were attractive. So you might be shrinking your pool if you're, as a guy, if you have tattoos and piercings.
Yeah, well, definitely if you have both, but one or the other, yeah.
There's a lot we can learn here. But it's always a case-by-case basis,
I would say that's probably more accurate, and I don't know exactly who conducted the study. It was 2,000 women, so that's a decent amount. That's
meaningful, yeah.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of people. But also, like, this also depends on where you live, because I feel like a lot of times internationally, they have very different beauty standards for men and women.
Yep.
And so, like, it could be very different based off of where you live.
I think this might have been focused in the UK.
Okay.
And they might be more open to bald heads because of the royal family.
Oh,
because of Prince William.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so we have the RadioU hotline open.
877-2-RADIO-U.
Asking what is the best fruit. Many people chiming in. This all got started with JR, brought this up around the office. And there's just wild opinions on this. People, not a lot of agreement.
No.
So here's what people are saying, Allie. Aurora says bananas, hands down, best fruit ever. Banana flavored anything is a good way to get me on board.
Okay.
Where would you rank bananas in the fruit rankings?
I think bananas would be pretty high for me. Definitely like in the top 5, but I wouldn't choose it as my top one.
I would, it's not my favorite, but as far as, again, as I broke it down, I think there's 3 different ways to answer the question. In the just straight up eating the fruit on its own, bananas are pretty high for me.
Pretty high.
Maybe a number 2 behind my number 1.
Also love banana bread.
Banana bread is good, yeah. Some people like to put it in cereal, me not as much. But
I do know some people that do that, yeah.
That's something that people are interested in. Luke also mentioned bananas. He also said apples. They're so convenient, especially when you have younger kids.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like apple stuff, but I do not
like to eat a straight up apple.
Yeah, I would not just eat a plain apple.
Okay.
I don't hate it. It's just like
what
I
about,
would never do
apples
that.
With peanut butter.
You
love peanut butter.
I do love peanut butter, so I'm really just using the apple as a spoon to spoon the peanut butter into my mouth.
Such a good snack, though. It slaps every time.
Yeah. I mean, much better than peanut butter and celery. Like that's not even in the same ballpark. Chad went off the board a little bit. He says it's a tie, the best fruit between oranges.
Okay.
Okay. I love orange juice. One of my favorite things in the world is just really good orange juice. And he says avocados.
Oh, wow.
Technically a fruit.
Yeah.
Technically a fruit. I don't know if everybody thinks of them as a fruit. I don't really care for guacamole, and I don't put avocado on stuff, so that's not a big one for me, but that's...
Not a big one for me, but I know a lot of people that live and die by avocado.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, guac is, people love the guac.
Or
Ryan,
avocado toast.
yeah, that's right. Ryan says I have to go with banana. No silverware needed to prep or eat. It's a quick and easy snack.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that kind of true about a lot of fruit, though?
Most fruit, I would say, is, and the one that I'm going to go with hasn't been mentioned yet, and I would say it is a very easy snack as well, but I'll hold off.
Bree says, I think if grapes disappeared, I'd be sad because then there would be no wine, but I never eat them on their own. She also says cantaloupe is my fave fruit on its own.
Well, Bree just gave away my choice for fruit that I like just on its own, and that is grapes, because I don't drink I don't drink wine, I don't drink grape juice, but I absolutely love grapes. I feel like they're so perfect for hydrating you. They have a great taste most of the time because I go for like the red ones. I don't really like the sour grapes. But I would say that's for me straight up fruit just on its own. Love to eat grapes.
That's that's a good choice. I love grape jelly. Need that for, even though the grape jelly I probably get is hardly got any real grapes in it at all.
It's all artificial flavoring.
Yeah, I could go without grapes though. I could give those up.
Okay.
I could live without grapes. Lindsay says guava.
Oh,
Guava is the best
guava. Yeah, that's a tropical fruit.
I feel like that's even more off the board than avocado.
It's really good though.
Corey says I'm cutting up apples right now as we speak.
So apples is his choice, maybe.
D says strawberry and orange, but I'm allergic to both, so cherries or blueberries.
That's so sad to be allergic to strawberries. Strawberries are so good.
Strawberries is my choice for best fruit on its own.
Okay.
And it might be best fruit considering its other uses.
The only thing about strawberries is sometimes you can get strawberries that just don't taste as good. Mm-hmm. You have to get the right strawberries.
Yeah. Isn't that true about apples too? Like, wouldn't you say apples are hit or miss?
But apples also, you can get a kind of a range of flavor.
Yeah, it could be just the variety.
Yeah, but for strawberries, it's like it has to be the perfect pick of a strawberry, or else you'll be like, this has no flavor to it at all.
Yeah, that is true. But strawberry flavored things too, though, I really like.
Okay.
And so I feel like I put strawberry a little ahead of apple.
Okay.
For me, if I'm ranking. Then William says, as a kid, my favorite was cantaloupe, but now it's pineapple. And the best fruit flavored stuff, though, is grape flavored stuff.
Okay.
Landon says I got to go with grapes, my go-to snack, and plus jelly and grape juice.
Yeah.
And then Tommy says this was a popular one around the office that I hadn't seen anybody say before, Tommy, and that is watermelon. I don't eat watermelon, and I really typically do not like watermelon flavored things.
I like watermelon, and I agree. He says so refreshing and hydrating. I think watermelon during the summer it just slaps. It hits on another level. But I will say sometimes you can get watermelon that doesn't taste as good, so it can be hit or miss sometimes. And watermelon, as far as the fruits that are messy, that's top of mess.
True.
Top tier of messiness goes to watermelon.
You know what's even, I say, often messier, and something that that is the answer for the fruit that has to be protected above all others, even though it's not the best.
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
Completely agree. Completely agree. If tomatoes disappeared, we would be missing so much stuff.
Ketchup, marinara, so many pasta sauces. Some people like actual raw tomato. I hate it. I really do not.
Cherry tomatoes in your salad. So many different things would be gone from this world, and I would be so sad. I am a pizza lover. I would be devastated.
Yeah, we wouldn't have pizza. We'd have all white pizza, which I like, but
nope.
It's just not the same.
No.
Not the same.
That one would be the worst to disappear.
If we had to lay down our lives for a fruit, it would be tomatoes.
It would be tomatoes.
Even though I don't even like tomatoes on their own.
Well, Hudson, I finally know my blood type.
Yes, we have answers.
Yes. So if you missed it, I donated blood for the very first time. I think it was like last week, Tuesday, somewhere around there. And last night, finally, my Red Cross blood donor app updated, and I now know my blood type because I never knew what it was.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, but I've donated blood, and I give plasma all the time, and I don't know what my blood type is.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's nothing exciting.
Yeah.
It's not a special one.
Well, mine is apparently a special one.
Oh!
I'm O positive.
I didn't even know that was a type.
Yeah, it's the universal type. So it's the blood type that can be given to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh my gosh.
When you are O positive, the Red Cross blood donor app does this thing where they actually give you more reward points because that's the most used blood type for like transfusions and all sorts, because it can be used for anybody.
Yep.
So they really want people with O positive blood to give. And so I was talking with my cousins last night because we're all in a group together with the Red Cross and we give blood.
Yeah.
And me, my cousin Christy, and one of our friends, Trina, we all have O positive, all of us. And then my cousin Kathy does not. And so she brought up this point, and I was like, you know what? This is actually true. The Red Cross is blatantly discriminating against people that don't have O positive blood. Because they're not giving them as many reward points for giving the same amount of blood. And it's over something they have no control over.
Yep.
You can't control your blood type. And they also give you a little description for when you open up your app.
Yeah.
Where it says you're O plus powerful or powerful O plus donator, O positive. And they don't give that to anybody.
Oh, come on. Wow,
So
way to
the
make
Red
the
Cross
rest
is
of us normies feel all small and diminished.
They're just discriminating. But I did look it up, and I was trying to make my cousin Kathy feel better. Because I'm an encourager.
Yeah.
I like to encourage people. And so I looked it up, and I was like, let me see what exactly is said about O positive. And it actually is the most common blood type, according to the Red Cross.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 39% of Americans have it. But so
well, if it's the most common, that makes it okay to discriminate against what would you call them? Minorities?
Yeah, right. That's what I said. I put in the group chat. I was like, so technically speaking, Kathy's blood type is more rare than ours. And I was like, I hope that makes you feel special, Kathy. And she was like, it doesn't.
No, yeah, that makes her a minority, even worse to be discriminated against.
Yeah, this is blatant discrimination. It needs to be stopped, Red Cross. What are you doing?
Seriously, I think Kathy and I have a lawsuit on our hands.
You don't even know your blood type.
I know it's not O positive.
Okay.
It's A or B something.
Okay.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I donated a couple
That's like
times.
all the other options.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's not O, and so I guess it's not good enough. So you know what? I'm glad that I'm not giving them my dumb old blood. What good would it do them anyways?
You give plasma,
They don't want to reward. Yeah, because that can just be used for anybody.
Yeah.
It's universal.
Yeah.
You know? And I like to put my stuff to where it can actually be used and where I'm actually compensated fairly. You know what? You could you and I could walk into the plasma place.
Wouldn't
We'd be
be
treated exactly the same.
Yeah, wouldn't be treated differently at all.
Actually, that's not 100% true. I would donate more plasma, and so they'd give me more money because I'm fatter.
Oh.
Yeah, heavier.
Oh, well, I guess I'll take that. That's a compliment.
It's still like proportionally, I think it's still like the same rate. It's just I can give more.
You can give more.
So that's fair.
Well, you know what? I'm not going to argue against that because that's a compliment to me.
I guess it is. Yeah. Well, it seemed like it was only a matter of time before the NFL would face a lawsuit regarding Shedeur Sanders in the NFL draft. Sure enough, we have a lawsuit on our hands.
Oh, no.
And we're going to need a verdict. You can chime in at 8772-RadioU. The NFL is being sued by a Georgia man, by the way, who's representing himself for $100 million, who claims that, here's his quote. It was immediate frustration. This guy, Shedeur Sanders, was projected to be the first or second pick no later than the top 5, and to watch mediocre players be chosen before him, it was frustrating. And have all the NFL owners collude and not draft him, it was mentally frustrating and debilitating for them to believe that they can just do this and there's no recourse. It has to stop.
And Debilitating?
Yeah, this guy.
That's a word.
Who is not Shedeur Sanders or related to him in any way, as far as we know. He's anonymous, going by John Doe, but he is filed this actual lawsuit that the NFL is going to have to deal with. His legal argument, he claims the NFL violated the Sherman Antitrust Act, which it goes to that plays into the allegations that the NFL collectively, colluded. The owners, the teams, joined together and agreed together to not draft Shedeur Sanders for some reason. The filing also asserts that there may have been a racial element and justifies the $100 million payout by saying the actions and dissemination of slanderous statements that have caused severe emotional distress and trauma to the plaintiff, aka John Doe, resulting in frustration, disappointment, and psychological harm as a fan.
Slander to him?
I believe so. I guess
is a
so.
Wild take.
Or slander to him for because he believed, like so many, that Shedeur Sanders should have been a high pick.
I don't know who you were talking to that made you believe that, but apparently the NFL disagreed.
8772 Radio U. We need a judgment rendered on this case.
Yep.
Chime in with your verdict in today's You Be the Judge situation. Should the NFL have to pay a random Georgia man $100 million because they colluded to keep Shedeur Sanders from being drafted until the 5th round? We heard from Regina, who simply says, "Go home, Chad." We heard from Shrew, who says, first of all, is Shedeur Sanders from Georgia? I don't think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he is.
Nevertheless, it's not him. It is not him suing because this guy is 55 years old. Neither Shedeur Sanders nor Deion Sanders is 55 years old. But Shrew says, either way, the answer is a resounding no. John Doe should have to pay the legal fees for the NFL for such a frivolous lawsuit.
Ooh, yeah.
That would be hilarious if they actually go through with that.
They made him do that?
Which I don't know if that's a thing that can happen.
That would really backfire in your face if that was.
Tim says if this guy wins his lawsuit, then the Blue Jackets and Anaheim Ducks should sue the NHL for giving the Blackhawks the Connor Bedard pick a couple of years ago, the number 1 pick.
Oh.
There's always, with the draft lotteries, there's always conspiracies with those too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Aurora says, he says the person who represents himself has a fool for a client and an idiot for a lawyer.
Yeah.
And says he should be laughed out of the courtroom because this lawsuit is so ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous.
And Ryan says, no way this lawsuit sees a courtroom. Way too much evidence pointing to other solid college QBs that went late in the draft. The national championship winning QB got picked later than Sanders.
A whole round later.
Yeah. I don't think that proves anything, but I also don't think there's any proof whatsoever that shows that Shedeur Sanders was colluded against. We've gone over this.
I think you could argue that some were influenced when the Colts came out or the Giants came out and were like, yeah, we're not going to take him.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no evidence to show that they were all talking with one another. That all 30 of them met in a room and were like, yep, nope, not Sanders. We're not taking him.
Yeah.
So
to rehash it once again, it's the NFL. If any individual team thought that it was worth the trouble of dealing with him because they thought they could win games, which is how people making the picks
make decisions.
It's how they thought they could win games or even make money off of having him on the team. They would have picked him earlier.
Yeah.
They're not going to trade other things for that.
Right.
Particularly making money, and you also make money by winning games. Keep your job by winning games. And so that's why he wasn't picked then. They could be right or wrong about that. Maybe he will pay off for the Browns. He could be worth it. But it's Allie gave a thumbs down.
No.
A Browns fan. She doesn't think it's happening. I don't think anybody thinks it's happening except the absolute most
delusional
extreme
people.
Delusional Shedeur Sanders family sycophants,
aka John Doe from Georgia.
Yeah, but it's he can prove that on the field. But this is, we're just rehashing this. He may or may not have deserved to slide in the draft, but he did. But that wasn't a collusion thing.
No,
there was no corruption. It's just what NFL teams thought.
Yep.
And so this lawsuit is silly.
It's moot. A moot point.
But there is also, it is funny that the NFL has to spend even a moment actually dealing with this
with this
in
type
some
of
way.
lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also a little sad that our legal system has to spend any time dealing with this.
Right.
When it could be dealing with actual meaningful lawsuits.
Yeah.
The verdict for the NFL, not guilty, and they don't have to pay anything to this guy. You ever feel like the world is just trying to split everything into two, like black or white? Everything has to be so simplified for us. Is that because we're getting dumber? Like everything is always, it feels like it's split up into two sides.
Yeah,
it's
there's
like,
never any nuance.
Yeah, it's Republican or Democrat. It's you're Canadian or American now. It's like you like a thing or you don't like a thing.
Apple or Android.
Yeah, exactly. There's no I guess I prefer one, but I don't mind the like that. There's not a lot of room for that anymore.
Yeah, not a lot of middle ground.
That's why I think you see like people have their Instagram and Twitter bios or whatever, and it's like like you said, Team Apple. I guess that'd be a weird one, but like things along those lines,
yes. Yeah.
Where it's these are the things that are me, and these are the teams that I'm on that define me,
right?
And because you would never even think of doing the other way,
yeah.
And life is more complicated than that.
It's absolutely true. Life is full of more nuance than we grant it most of the time, because we always just want to put people in a box. And it's just easier for us to do that. It's easier for us to label things, label people, and not have to deal with the true nuance and complicated, messy lives that we live.
Yeah. I mean, especially when it comes to politics, once you just label somebody either on your team or not, then you don't have to deal with all of their arguments. It's just like, well, your thing doesn't matter because you're the opposite of me.
Right.
Even though that isn't how it is.
No.
There are people that are on the opposite side of you overall that might agree with you on some things.
Exactly.
And that brings me to Jesus, where because we seem to have a hard time holding two things that it's either one or the other, and there's no in between. It's either the extreme of God wants to boss you around, and if you don't live exactly the way he wants you to, then he's going to be mad at you, and you're a sinner and you're going to hell and whatever. Yeah, you're in trouble. Or there's well, God just loves everybody, and just you can do anything you want, whenever you want,
God's
no matter
just a doormat.
what. Yeah, God will just let you walk all over him.
Right.
And there's somewhere in between. Both of those things are kind of true. There is a reason God has rules, the 10 Commandments, and stuff for life. But also, there's a reason. God is not going to write you off. Just because you do something wrong doesn't mean that
it doesn't cancel out God's grace. It doesn't
cancel it out.
Yeah.
It also doesn't mean that you should just go about life completely ignoring what God has told us to do, how God has instructed us to live life, and we should strive for that. There's a big in between the extremes that you might have heard about God. But the beauty of it is that and the truth of it is that what matters is that God loves you. And when you start there and work forward from there, it allows you to find out what the rest of it means. Right.
And so often we want to work through that in an opposite way. We think we have to obey God for us to get his love. Really what it is God loves you first, which makes you want to obey him. It makes you want to follow his will. And that's so opposite to what our human brains want us to do. We think we have to earn it. We think we have to do something to deserve God's love. Guess what? That will never happen.
We have to make ourselves perfect for God.
Right.
And some people just go, well, I can't do that. And so then I guess I don't care.
You are absolutely right. You can't. No human on earth is ever going to make yourself perfect and deserving of God's love. But guess what? That's why it's a free gift. That's why it's called grace. Because if it was anything else, we would never deserve it. And we still don't deserve it. But it's given to you freely. And that's so awesome. And so just accept that gift of love and grace from him, and that will make you want to obey his will.
Find out more about what that means. Start talking to God about what his love actually is, what a relationship with him is actually like, because it very well may not be what you have in your mind, what the world has told you, because they want to divide it into two sides, just like they do with everything else. Start talking to God, find out straight from him, and go to radiou.com/free gifts. It's a great place to go to. We're doing Would You Rather Wednesday. Today's question, would you rather go to prom with one of your parents or go with one of your exes as your date? And just to be clear, you don't get to choose which ex. It would be random. So take that into consideration. Which would you choose? 8772 Radio U. Allie, a lot of people have gotten in on this.
Yes, lots of text messages.
We heard from Regina, who says, I'll go ex and hope for the best. I can also abandon my date and join my friends on the dance floor, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, once you're there, once you arrive in the stretch limo,
you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Yeah. I like Logan. Logan says, for Would You Rather Wednesday, I would choose taking one of my exes because I could show them what they are missing because I'm a wonderful time and I'm a one-of-a-kind person.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that confidence.
That personality.
Yeah, and maybe a little bit of I want to get back with one of them. Lindsay says, at this point in my life, my mom would be a great time. We'd be dancing, eating, taking pictures, just hanging out. We would have a banger of a time.
I think that's a good point. As adults, I feel like our relationships only get better sometimes with our parents. Mm-hmm. So maybe now, looking back, hindsight, you'd be like, yeah, actually, my mom would be a fun time, or my dad would be a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, this is tough because I'm thinking that you could do this. The question is going to prom, right? And I'm not thinking of going to prom as an adult. I'm thinking of
what you thought of in
prom
high
age
school.
me.
Yeah.
Even if, I don't know, but then that complicates the exes thing, you know?
Yeah.
It makes it difficult.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, as an adult, and you would go to prom, like, why would you care what everybody else thinks at that point?
Right.
It would be less weird to take your parents as an adult than it would be when you're actually prom age.
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that does.
Is it less weird? I don't know which one
I think
is less
would.
weird.
I think it would be less weird.
Okay.
Aurora says, I'd rather take an ex. Going with one's parents is just shameful. Wow. Chad says, definitely an ex, but this question kind of reminds me of that one scene in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure when Ted says to Bill, remember when I asked her to prom in regards to his stepmom?
Oh, no! No.
Allie, what are you choosing for Would You Rather Wednesday?
I think I'm also going to go with X. I have, I believe, 4 that would be who would be the options. Mm-hmm. And I would tolerate 3. There's one that I would be not happy about, but I think I would take my shot with that. Because, it's a 75% chance it would be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
75% chance. And I mean, you and your dad would have fun.
Yeah, me and my dad would have a good time. I just think, the thing I thought of was the line from Mean Girls where it's like, it's social suicide.
Literally.
And that's what I view taking a parent to prom as.
Literally, Thomas just said, as someone who skipped my prom, staying home sounds preferable, but parents seem like social suicide.
No way. Yes, Thomas, I completely agree. That was literally the first line that popped into my head. It's from Mean Girls when they're talking about joining the mathletes.
Yeah.
But
you can't do that. It's social suicide.
Social suicide. Yeah.
Thomas said, in the spirit of the question, it should probably be the worst ex. That's a good point. Yeah. What if you don't get to choose? It's not random. You just get the worst ex.
The worst ex?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I still probably would take the ex and just abandon him.
I think for me, like, this is tough because it's hard, like, it's hard to answer this without knowing, like, what age you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, do you actually go to the school? Do you know anybody?
Right.
Because if this is, like, if I'm thinking high school me or, like, prom me, I wouldn't want to take my parents, right?
No.
I'm thinking at this point in life, though, I also wouldn't mind taking my parents because, like, what do I care?
Yeah.
But also, at this point in my life, what do I care about my exes? I have 2. I have no idea what they're doing. But I'm married. I'm assuming they're married. If we, like, in some cosmic thing had to go to a prom, I think we'd both be like, well, this is weird, but we'd get along, and I guess we'd find out about each other's lives and whatever, and like, that would just be it. But I think everybody would be fine. We wouldn't fight or whatever. I don't know. But
I think you do need to think about it how you would be thinking as a high school student going to prom.
I mean, high school student, you're absolutely choosing exes.
You're choosing an ex.
100%.
Yeah.
Probably even if it kills your current relationship. Yeah. Because you're like, I'm in high school, this isn't going to last anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that has to be the right answer.
Thanks for listening to the RadioU Podcast. Don't forget to rate and review the show.